Okay, so today we are going to work with the medium crayons, and I have a pretty strong feeling that these are going to be very similar to the oil pastels. But I do think that oil pastels are fluid and squishy, so I think some of the things that I think crayons are more limited actually than oil pastels, but I could be totally wrong. I don't think we would be able to use linseed oil to blend crayons. I don't even know if I want to try that. I also think because crayons are more stiff, that you could use like a cheese grater or a pencil sharpener and get the sharpenings from the crayon, and then you can use the iron or some sort of heat to make really beautiful things with that. Where I don't think you could do that with an oil pastel. They just are too soft, and so it wouldn't be as precise as the crayon would be. I also like the fact that crayons don't leave a ton of those like chunks on the page. But I'm thinking, what can you do with a crayon? And I'm not really sure. I guess we're just gonna have to test how to mix it, what happens when you add heat, or scratch into it. Its opacity, I would like to know how to cover it. Mixing, I think of as like layering, but I also think you can blend crayon with a paper towel or like rub. Also, I was wondering about black surfaces. I'm wondering if these crayons will show up on black surfaces, which is going to be a little hard to tell as my paper's white. I'm going to have to grab a piece of black paper just to try that out because I'm curious. I guess we'll start from there and then see where it takes us. Oh, you know what else is fun to do with crayons? Because this is something that we used to do with our crayons as kids, is peel off the wrapper and then carve into the crayon and then use it as on the side. And just like the markers and the other things, we can write words with them, or we can use the tip to do finer detailed things. And another thing I thought of with crayons that I really like to do are crayon rubbings using the sides. But I'm not going to do that on this one because I already taped the paper down and I'd have to fit a texture plate underneath it. So we might try stencils though. I don't know how that's gonna work. I don't think it's gonna work as well as it does with the oil pastels, just because oil pastels are softer. Okay, let's start with that one since I'm kind of excited about that. I'm gonna carve the side of my crayon. And we're already starting off with chunks. My favorite. And you can sort of see it. This crayon's pretty light. Well, there we go. So you can see like the marks in that are not drawn. Oops, that one I didn't actually use the side bit I marked. It's like a little tire mark. That's what it reminds me of. Yeah, that's not really doing much. It is where there's more layers, I guess, but it's really subtle. Where there's only one color, it's doing pretty much nothing. So it's smearing a little bit, but definitely not a whole lot there either. Let's try the Raindrop Stencil. It's like the raindrop test with each one. I didn't do a stencil on the watercolor though. I should have tried. Let's see what's gonna happen with this little Raindrop Stencil. If our history repeats itself, not a whole lot. This one did not like our projects. Yeah, history is repeating itself. I think the only way this Raindrop Stencil works is with acrylic, apparently. I'm going to call this the raindrop test. I think if we go over with the side of the crayon, and we'll try one with the top of the crayon. It's funny, some people pronounce it crayon and some people pronounce it crayon. I go back and forth. I should look up Crayola and see what they call it, how they pronounce it, so we know the proper way to say it. Okay. Or we can just ask Siri. Let's try some melting. There's lots of crumbs on there. Make sure that when you're melting, you move the crayons out of the way or you're going to melt them. They will melt as You may already know if you've left crayons in your car on a hot day, that's not a good thing to do. It definitely changes what happens, and these little pieces are now part of the artwork. But you really don't notice it. It's so subtle, you probably didn't really see it or notice it. I noticed it. You just have to do it on your own paper so you can see the change. But so stencils worked okay. They were the wider stencils, but not great. There's not a real crisp edge on there. Oh, I guess we could try melting it a little from I always do these on the browns because, as you can see, like, I don't even know if I've even used this brown. I just don't use brown a lot. So when I'm experimenting, I don't mind melting the brown. So that made it just melt right into the page. It's a great way to quickly cover an area. Heat it up. Sometimes I will use an old pancake griddle, and I will put my paper on top of that and color with crayons, and that has the same effect as what that just did. It just melts right into the page. You won't have much, it goes through the crayon wax really fast though, so I went from a brand new crayon to one that has been used more than the others, so it does kind of eat up your crayon, but that's okay. I'm okay with that. If you're like me, you probably have a stash of crayons at home waiting to be played with and experimented on. And like white watercolors, I don't use a lot of white crayons either, but I use them when I have a dark surface, if I'm drawing on black, or they work great for Easter eggs if you want to color your Easter egg with a design and then dip it into the paint so that it resists, kind of like magic. But other than that, the white crayon doesn't come out very often. So now that this is like melted into the page, it's if I run my finger over it, like I can barely feel, I feel the dots when it's textured, where like the thicker dots melted into the page, but where the stencil was, it's completely smooth. Like it doesn't even feel waxy anymore. Like this feels waxy, but this feels like the paper, and coloring over the top of it, it's really easy to do too. I feel like I need to pull this paper up and do a crayon rubbing, because that is like a major part of using crayons. I feel like we're ripping ourselves off of an opportunity here if we don't do this. So I might have to do it. I'm gonna do it. I've convinced myself. Let's try the Raindrop Stencil again, but it has failed me too many times for me to feel like it's trustworthy. I am just gonna slip this square stencil underneath and see what we what we come up with here. So not a whole lot is happening. I mean, barely. You can just barely see it. It could be due to the fact that my paper is so thick. So let me grab a thinner piece of paper and then we'll try it one more time. That is taped to my paper. So you can see that worked much better. The crayon rubbing. Probably should have put it up here. You know what? I think we should try the raindrop on that one because that worked better. Let's see if the raindrop will show up on our crayon rubbing if we do this paper. Just for fun. It's kind of showing up. Kind of. Yeah, a little bit. Not a total disappointment. It passed the raindrop test. Oh, one of my favorite things to do with crayons. Scribble. I love to scribble, and I drew a painting one time and I sold it, and then the person that bought the painting, I don't think they realized that it was me that scribbled on it, and they got really nervous that like one of their kids scribbled on it or something, or one of my kids scribbled on it, but it was me. It was part of the painting. Alright, I'm feeling pretty done playing with the crayons. I think I'm going to heat it all up one more time. I like the, I like when it's just smooth and not crumbly, so I'm going to do that. Be done with this one. Okay, so I thought the painting's okay, or the crayon drawing that I did is okay, but I was thinking that some of my favorite things to do with crayons are melt them. Usually like with an iron or something, but make sure if you do this and you do it with an iron that it's like a designated craft iron, or you clean it really well. You do not want to go and iron like your Sunday clothes or a white shirt and then have crayon be melted into that shirt. It will not come out. So be super cautious about that. But I did want to do some crayon shavings. I want to try and do the crayon shavings and then fold it over so that they stay put, and then try with the heat. I know it works with an iron. I used to do that all the time when I was little, but I want to see if it will work. I also wanted to look up how to pronounce crayon, so the American pronunciation. So here it is.
Crayon.
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 We can slow her down too. Let's see.
Crayon.
Crayon. So there you have it. It is crayon. Alright, so I told you I have a lot of crayons. Or, oops, crayons. Anyway, in this basket. And I hope I have a pencil sharpener somewhere in here. So I'm just gonna use like the broken pieces and sharpen them. And just play with them a little bit more. So now different crayons, now it just seems funny to say it that way, will melt better than others. I have actually found that Crayola, they put more color pigment in, so they work the best as opposed to like the cheaper ones that are waxier. So that's actually a really good test to see if your crayons are very good, because when you melt them, what are you getting the most of? Are you getting more color or are you getting more wax? I mean, you can usually tell when you're coloring with them anyways, but I thought I had a sharpener in here. I kind of usually just keep one designated again for crayons, but I'm just peeling the edge off this to make it easier to sharpen. And I feel like I could make a lot of candles with all of these crayons. Did you know that you can make candles with crayon wax? Yep. Alright, there's a lot of things you can do with crayons. I think some of these crayons in my crayon box are from when I was in elementary school. If you can imagine that. That was a long time ago. It'd be interesting to see the ones that are and see how they melt and how the quality of products has changed. That might be depressing though. Okay, I found a pencil sharpener. So I'm going to take this card, fold it in half. And on one side, I'm just going to do some crayon shavings. So this blue is going to be my cheaper brand. Just testing it out. Maybe I will do that blue so we can tell them apart. And this gray one, I don't know what it is. It's old. That's what it is. It's just old. Okay. Usually you can tell when the crayon starts melting when you can start seeing it on this side. So oh, that didn't even melt yet. So this isn't working as well as an iron, if I'm just being honest here. Irons work better for this. But I also didn't risk the chance of getting my clothes with not bad. I could use these for like collage or something. I'm also wondering, I know this is totally kind of cheating the project because we're not supposed to add anything that's not crayon on these ones. That was kind of the point of these exercises, but I'm kind of wondering what would happen if we put a little glitter in it. If it would stick in the crayon. I think it would. I think it would stick into it, but not only do I like the crayon shavings, I also like that my crayons are pointier. I wonder if the better way to do this so they don't fly away too is if I started with my paper warm so that it kind of already started melting into it and then heated it up, because with it blowing it just makes it harder if they just want to fly away. I hope you guys are having as much fun as I am. This is like taking me back to my childhood. And I just think we should play more. You can kind of move it around a little bit. Like droopy. I don't know that that's necessarily like a really pretty shape, but better than a circle. Circles can be boring, I guess. Alright, I'm gonna try this glitter. I liked how this blue crayon worked, so there you go. The cheaper ones work too. At least these ones, the ones you get from like the restaurant stuff, those are not worth keeping. But whether you want to save yourself 25 cents and buy the 25-cent packages during the school sales or 50 cents, they're pretty similar from this experiment. I still like Crayola better, I don't know. Whoa, that was a lot of glitter. I find it kind of funny how much guys hate glitter. My dad and my husband hate glitter. Like, hate it. Like, it makes him shiver just to get near it. Whoa, I'm smoking. I'm gonna start it on fire. I don't know if that was smoking because of the glitter or because I just got it too hot there. Nothing really exciting happened there. Oh. Let's see, I'm gonna take some of the glitter off. Try not to breathe in those fumes there. And hopefully when you're using heat, you're working in a well-ventilated area anyway. That's really important with all art supplies, actually. That you keep yourself healthy and safe. Maybe I'll give this to my husband as a birthday card. I'm just kidding. That's not very nice. Okay, that's kind of cool. Now that I'm like, I don't know if you can see this, but well, but it's just dripping. It's pretty cool. All right, well, hope you guys had fun, and see you next Friday.